the plays of three great tragic dramatists of the Athenian Golden Age. The now legendary Euripides, Aeschylus, and Sophocles offer a window into the intellectual life of that influential city. They showcase Greek civilization's evolving thought about the nature of the gods and their relationship with humanity, thoughts that would later help shape our modern world. By the 5th century BCE, there was a rich theatre culture in Athens, with two genres of plays that would remain standard in Western drama for centuries: tragedy and comedy. The tragic genre, serious dramas with dialogue in verse, dealt with the lives of famous or outstanding characters on a downward spiral from happiness to awful misery. Most historians believe that tragic drama was the primary tool by which the Greeks examined their own lives, through it exploring, even challenging, their relationships with the gods. Euripides, who probably died in 406 BCE, was the most modern of the three great playwrights, and the most skeptical of the then popular belief in the existence of the gods. His work shows the influence of the sophist school of philosophy, which held that rather than any gods, forces of nature, or even the universe itself, man was the real measure of all things. This view was somewhat radical, and his play Medea packed this skepticism punch and more. An addendum to the story of Jason and the Argonauts, it built on existing Greek myths which were set roughly a generation before the Trojan War. Using old storylines, it dared to attack the entrenched Greek xenophobia and sexism of the day, its framework the relationship between Medea and Jason. The play even presented Medea herself as an almost masculine tragic hero, on a path towards sorrowful deeds reminiscent of Achilles and Hector in earlier Greek literature. But undoubtedly most radical of all was the play's suggestion that the gods were simply personifications, inspired by the most powerful natural forces and strongest human passions. In the finale, Medea became a deity and was spirited away in a reverse deus ex machina. This famous device was usually used to bring a god onto the Greek stage to finally solve the drama's otherwise insoluble problem, but in Medea it was deployed to carry her off the stage. Hence, Medea was ultimately deified despite, or in fact for, killing her own children, the king of Corinth, and his daughter, Jason's fiancée. To the Athenian audiences of the time, the play must have been an astonishingly daring, confronting, and thought-provoking piece of art. It could almost be seen as a philosophically deeper version of those modern serial killer movies and TV shows in which the killer, by the end, is portrayed as somehow justified or even heroic. Aeschylus, likely born around 524 BCE, was the most religious and patriotic of the great tragedians, and also the finest poet. His trilogy, Orestia, based on the House of Atreus myth, was framed around the Trojan War. Orestia's three plays used old stories to discuss contemporary life, focusing on impossible choices. Aeschylus implied that Zeus leads humanity through suffering towards wisdom. The first play, Agamemnon, centered on the king being forced to choose between his family and his army, with either choice triggering divine sanctions and assuring eventual doom. In the sequel, the libation bearers, his son Orestes, had to decide between avenging his father by killing his mother, or leaving his father's murder unavenged, both god-offending choices. And in the third play, Eumenides, Orestes was acquitted for killing his mother, following a trial by jury of his peers, presided over by the goddess Athena. Thus, at last, a difficult choice was shown, resolved by a civilized institution, in which the principle of vendetta was replaced by a community court of law, in harmony with divine justice. Sophocles, who most likely died in 406 BCE, was prominent in Athenian public life, but in his plays showed more skepticism about the gods than Aeschylus. While never doubting their existence, Sophocles portrayed them as preoccupied, unsupportive of human morality and conduct, essentially leaving mankind to work things out for themselves. In the play Antigone, his main character had to choose between loyalty to the state or to her family. As usual, either choice meant either a god or an earthly power sanctioning her, She chose family, burying a brother King Creon had ordered left unburied. Imprisoned and fated to starve to death, she then suicided. The gods punished Creon, but too late to help Antigone. In summary, Euripides saw the gods as simply anthropomorphic projections of nature, or our own lusts. Aeschylus believed them active participants in human life, working for the greater good. And Sophocles saw them as part of the universal fabric, but minimally interested in human life. Hence, the Greek tragedy of Athens' Golden Age truly manifested and examined life. It posed questions, and through story, debated issues then current in the thought life of that city. Its legacy was to establish a menu of strong intellectual viewpoints that would resurface in the Western world at the dawn of the Renaissance, with history-changing consequences.
To dive even deeper into the ancient Greek mindset that drove the Western world's founding theatre, experience their favorite backstory, the Trojan War, in our legendary Episode 2.